Everything that you're after. Love is the answer. And selfishness is the loser. Understanding the winner. If you are a veteran or a beginner. Everything that you're after. Love is the answer. And selfishness is the loser.
Hi, we're from a production called The Wacky Schoolers, and what we do, we go to different schools, daycares, and parties, and we put on performances for the children. It's musical, it's fun, and the children really enjoy it. And we teach about self-esteem, good hygiene, and things like that. It's a good, positive program. And if you want to get in contact with us, you can call 512-3339 or 219-512-3384. Thank you.
Did we drink her off?
Yeah.
We're Vietnam. My name is Sandra Campbell, and I would like to welcome you to the Omnibus Roundtable, founded by the world's conversation starter, Mr. Morgan Douglas Carter II. We're here at the Robey Park Manor Funeral Home, and I'd like to have the guests announce themselves, please.
My name is Sharice Robey, and I'm the president of Robey Park Manor Funeral Home.
And I'm Calvin Robey. I'm the vice president of Robey Park Manor Funeral Home.
And I have two wonderful co-hosts. I'm going to start here with Babette.
Hi, I'm Babette Payton, and I'm really thankful for being able to participate in the Omnibus Roundtable as co-host. Thank you, Sandra.
Most welcome, Babette.
And I'm Jean Moore.
And we're here during this time to celebrate one of the great successes of the South Side and Chicago Heights, and that would be Robey Park Manor. This evening, the Robeys are going to explain to us and educate us on the various processes and services that go into making what we consider a homegoing celebration for our friends and loved ones. I'd like to start out with Sharice Robey. Ms. Robey, could you give us a little information about your funeral home, and then have Mr. Robey come in and tell us when you were established and the services that you offer?
Absolutely. Well, I'm a third-generation funeral director. I started on the west side of Chicago at Hills West End Funeral Home. My grandfather started the business when I was a child. I decided it was time for us to kind of branch out on our own. And that's when my husband and I sought to find and relocated to Chicago Heights. But our service level and quality of service, commitment to the community has never changed.
Okay.
We are a full-fledged funeral home. But more than just a funeral home, we are a community-minded based funeral home. We do community events. We try to do one event every month. We range from health fairs where people can get checkups by doctors and things that we have coming to the facilities, financial seminars. We try to do a car show on the parking lot twice a summer. And it's just a community thing. You know, we have hamburgers out there, and inside the funeral home we will have craft shows for the ladies while the men are out admiring cars. And we have clowns, and then we do turkey giveaways, various parts of the year. We're very community minded. And also we have stillbirth services where we take stillborns, and we do those services free of charge. So because most people who experience those loss are not prepared or not thinking about that they're going to have to be burying this fetus who didn't survive. So we're a full service funeral home.
Oh, great, thank you. Can you tell us a little bit? We forgot to mention that you're actually located at 2510 Chicago Road in Chicago Heights, Illinois. And your phone number here?
Our phone number here is 708-756-2310.
Now, the Robeys have been wonderful to invite us in, and the reason is to give some community awareness and to educate us on some of the processes and the things that we should be looking for when we're actually getting ready to prepare for our loved one's homegoing. We were involved in this firsthand with the passing of Mr. Morgan Carter, and the Robeys were wonderful. I mean, we had a great orientation. I mean, great is an understatement. And we devised a couple of questions. I have a couple of questions. I believe Jean has two, and maybe even Babette here. But I'm going to start out. I'm going to ask one, and I'm going to ask my co-host to jump in here. You know, everybody relax. This is just a casual conversation. I would like to know, because I didn't know, and I still don't know, what should family and friends look for when we're actually trying to, you know, select a funeral home? I mean, could you just give us a little?
Absolutely. The first thing that I would tell anyone to look for is someone that's sensitive to their need at that time. Without the compassion and willingness to serve, I mean, you can have a funeral, but it's about more than having a funeral. This person meant something to someone.
That's true.
So that compassion should come across in the services rendered. When you're preparing the services for your loved one, of course, naturally you're going to need a casket. Naturally, you'll need the obituary. Naturally, you may desire to have flowers there at the service. But nothing will ease your mind by knowing that the person that you've selected for those services are actually concerned about your well-being.
Okay.
Therefore, we're not only a service that's rendered at need, but after the service is over and the family is all dispersed, we offer grief counseling as well. Because our goal is to make sure that that family member or the family members are whole once they leave our facility. So we're always concerned. We're not only looking at today, but how about tomorrow, that their survival and their well-being the next day, next week, next year, that they're healthy and whole once they leave our facilities. So those are things that I would say anyone should be concerned with when they're planning a funeral service. It's more than just finding someone to embalm a person and put those remains to rest in a cemetery. It's so much more than that. The commitment to serving that family is what's first and foremost here at Robey Park Manor.
Oh, okay, great. I didn't even know that.
I have a question. First of all, this is just a fabulous place. From the time we drove up the street and turned in, it looks, you know, like some places you really want to come, and it's warm when you come in the door. My question is, and just kind of observing some of the areas, is I noticed different theme motifs in some of the chapels. And so I was wondering if maybe Mr. Robey I saw some kid blocks, teddy bears in one of them, and I was like, oh, okay, tell me about that. I would think about if I lost a child or something, and I would want to have something favorite for my child there. It's great.
Well, we try to tailor every funeral service for every decedent that we service. Is not a cookie cutter service. One funeral service is just like the next, and just on and on and on. But we try to tell something about this decedent, whether it is a child or somebody who has lived, 90 years of life. We try to tailor it to fit this person, so when people come there, they can say, well, that's something that he would have. And the blocks that you refer to, those were set up for one of the fetal deaths that we had on day before yesterday, I'm sorry, and the casket with the teddy bears. So we don't try to use flowers, because flowers would be, scale-wise, it would overwhelm the little small fetus laying there. So we try to have blocks and teddy bears and little props like that, balloons, that type of thing.
Okay, so you take everything into consideration. I mean, this is such an education even sitting here now, because you never think about, you think about the business part, like you said, the embalming. You never think about those details that really count, because again, when you're going through the process, what family would remember to have a teddy bear because it's a child, or to have the numbers, or not to have the flowers, because that's the first thing everybody does when they hear that someone has expired or they suffered a loss. They send this barrage of flowers, and many a time, most places, we got them, let's put them on them. But I mean, that's real critical thinking. Like you said, compassion, caring. Jean, you're mighty quiet over there.
Yes, I was just waiting my turn. I had the opportunity of one time coming out and visiting the place, and then at the service for Morgan Carter. But one of the things that I found so fascinating was I've never came into a funeral home and saw a band playing. I thought that was just fascinating, because it really sets a complete different atmosphere. It's like you're coming in and you're knowing that you're going to be crying, and you're going through, this rigmarole because you have lost your loved one. What positioned you all to do a band?
That's good that you asked that question. From growing up around a funeral home, and I know it's so many people that have so many phobias about funerals and death in the process. Well, our goal is to open it up so that everyone has a better understanding. Death doesn't have to be this big, scary, taboo thing that no one wants to talk about. By opening it up and having a band, it allows a person to celebrate that life of that individual, not just the death or the ultimate cause of that person's demise. What we're looking for, that person lived a whole healthy life, touched many people along the way. So we're trying to draw every aspect of that individual into that service. Little by little, one way or another, we're trying to reach out and actually dig into a little bit of that person's past. In the case of the band, one gentleman we had, it was already verbalized. He loved jazz. He loved live music. He loved barbecuing. So each aspect, as I'm listening to the family at their funeral conference, I'm taking notes. Okay. I want to find out about your loved one. He's unique to you and special to you, but he's also, I'm looking to build upon those unique things that made him or her who he or she was. I don't want it to be, as my husband stated, a cookie cutter service. Yeah. Each person is so fascinating and unique, and we at Robey Park Manor, our goal is to build upon that.
I'd like to add too, again, goes back to personalizing each funeral. We also had a decedent who the whole neighborhood saw him sitting in his rocker every day in front of his window. So when he passed, we went to his house and we got his rocker and brought it to the funeral.
Oh, wow.
You know, so when everybody saw the rocker next to the casket, you know, it was no longer this sad service. It was I remember when, and that's the thing, to get the people's mind off of the sad part of it and to realize it's a celebration of life. He was alive when he sat in that rocker. He talked with you and shared some wisdom with you, and you learned some things, and perhaps you taught some things to him. So those are the memories that we try to give people to go back home with in their mind. And we try to dive into this family and find out something about this decedent that most people didn't know. Like, most people may not have known that he liked fishing, and he was an avid fisher when he was down south. So we'll bring his fishing poles, and display them at the funeral. So we take our time to try to learn this, because we want to do it like we would want somebody to do us, and we have the time, and we just take the time to do it. So again, I think that's one of the things that make us unique.
Well, I can, from the brief encounter that I had with both of you during the preparation for Morgan's homegoing ceremony, I can tell you that you were very detail-oriented. One time we were all sitting talking, and I thought about it. I said, this sounds like an interrogation, because we were asking you, what's the difference between this then? What's this? What about the vault? I mean, I got this great lesson in the vault, but this was no happenstance that you were called. Morgan actually said that he wanted you guys to handle his services. He was so impressed with what you did, and which is unusual for some of us to think, oh, we got to go here, I want these people to handle my ceremony. Well, when Wanda and I came out, I was saying the same thing. I hadn't even got inside the building yet. I'm like, oh, this is where I want to go. And then once I entered the doors, I'm like, yeah, this looks like me.
And it's so amazing, because we actually had a gentleman that walked through the door. He actually was coming to view Morgan's body, and as he came in, he said, "Oh, I can't wait till I die. I want to die, and this is where I want to be." And it was just so amazing, because it was like, okay, don't push it that you want to die, but we are just very pleased. Like I said, when you walk through the doors, you could tell that the spirit of the owners reside in here, yes, because you are able to exploit such a positive feeling. And like I said, coming in here, I have never spent 6-7 hours in a funeral place and not, think or know that that's where I was. So I am just grateful to even know you guys, and grateful for you all's services.
We thank you. We thank you. That's our goal, that at the end of the day, end of the service, that someone will forever be changed. That creepiness, that taboo topic that no one wanted to talk about, that is something that you can go back and talk about and share with your family. So we're always glad when we get that response. That was our goal.
Mr. Robey, before we close?
Just let me take about 60 seconds. Just say this last thing. Don't get me wrong. We are a at-profit business. We need money to keep our doors open, but it's not about the money for us. The way we get our payday is when that family comes to us at the end of the service and with tears in their eyes and say, "Thank you for making my dad look good for us one more time. Thank you for those little extra touches." That's payday for us. So again, it's a great opportunity for us to serve.
Well, thank you. Well, we want to thank you for being here. I hope everyone takes notice of this wonderful banner. And thank you very much for the Omnibus Roundtable.
The Robey Park Manor Funeral Home. And to my left in the niche, you can see one of the imported statues that we have in the funeral home. And just to the right of that, we have some decorative artwork that was also imported for the funeral home as well. To match the decor, and just to make things a little bit more pleasurable to the eye. We also have the wall sconces with the lights in them, alabaster glass, and we can't pan down to the floors, but the floors were hand cut in Italy for the funeral home. They're not just regular tile, they're actually marble. This is where we do our arrangements at. And again, we have a bust of, I think that's Lady Godiva with clothes. This is our prayer room. There's normally music playing through the PA system throughout the funeral home, just soft music. But in this room, there are no speakers. This is a room that we bring people when they just need a moment to get themselves together and to compose themselves, or a minister who needs some time to talk to the Lord before he deals with the family. This is our display room, our showroom. We call it our education room because we try to inform people about the difference between caskets, sealers and non-sealers, and their purpose for their existence, the difference between a grave box and a burial vault, and the difference between an 18 gauge and a 20 gauge caskets. Even if people do not choose us as their funeral home of choice, we try to educate, because we believe that if a person have the education, if they have the information, they'll make wiser decisions and choices. And that's what we try to do here. We have a full line of caskets. We also have urns. This is a fully functional clock. It is a timepiece, and it is designed to sit on a shelf or a mantelpiece, but it is an urn in disguise. This is where the cremains go here. So if you have a loved one who's cremated and you have some people who don't want to be in the same room with an urn, you can display them in something like this and nobody will ever know. It comes in more than one version. Here's a second version of the same timepiece, just a different style. Again, the cremains are placed on the inside here, and the timepiece is on the outside. We try to be the first in the industry to bring different products to the public. This is a new headstone. This is a bronze headstone. The color is guaranteed 20 years. It comes in every color under the rainbow. If you could feel this person's picture, you could feel the detail in their teeth, in that it's three-dimensional. Now here we just have it displayed with just one picture, but you could do multiple pictures. You could have the decedent here, the decedent and their husband, the decedent and their children, their grandchildren, their dog, etc. And again, it comes in every color under the rainbow. It's guaranteed to color 20 years, not to fade. We have a whole conglomerate of urns. This is another different type of urn. If you just didn't want to be in the same room with an urn, but you like the picture that was on the urn, the picture comes off and you can hang the picture on the wall, or you can just keep it on the urn. It's held together by magnets. Now, around the back here, grave box. Since 1984, the state of Illinois will not allow you just to put a casket in the ground and put dirt on top of it. It has to go inside of some type of container. Well, they came up with a concrete container that they call a grave box, and this is a miniature size value to it whatsoever. It doesn't have any gaskets to stop outside forces, whether it be dirt, water, and for a charge less than the grave box, you can get our least expensive vault. This is an actual vault. It just cut down in half like a Hostess Twinkie to show you how it's constructed. You can see the concrete construction here, and the top is concrete, and it has a gasket here to stop any water, any dirt, any outside forces from penetrating that casket to protect your loved one. That's just a slight lesson of the things that we try to inform people back in this room, so they can make better choices for their loved one and their pocketbook. Over here we have an actual full-size vault. This is called the Aegean. It is all marble, and a casket goes inside of it. There's one more thing that I'd like to show you back here. We try to be the first in the industry with different products that we find to be new and something nobody else carries. This is a handmade casket, and it is hand carved. If you can see the carving on the top of the cherry wood, it is of a flamingo, and it's all done by hand. Caskets have come a long way, and if you're looking for something different, something unique, something that you won't see at the next funeral home, something that you won't see at the next funeral service, we implore you to come down to Robey Park Manor Funeral Home and just see what we have to offer. And we are the least expensive funeral home in the Chicagoland area. When I say the Chicagoland area, I'm not just talking about the south suburbs. I'm talking about the north side, the west side, the south side, east side. Again, thank you.